So going solo today. Welcome to Hacking Business Technology. I'm Matt Hooper, your only host today. We have Mark and Matt both in training, and then I think Faraz on the way back from Knowledge 16, the ServiceNow conference. Lots of IT service management vendor conferences, Interchange, which is Landesk's conference in Vegas as well. It's interesting. I think we have seen where the vendors, their sponsorships and their conferences, major attractions. I do very frequently, but I have to give it up to ServiceNow for doing a great job with their Knowledge conference. I've not gone in, I think 4 years. And it wasn't even 2,000 people when I had started going. I think last year was about 8,000. This year they were claiming to be close to 10. Great. I think it's important for people to go to their vendors' conferences, HPs, CAs, CompuWares, to participate and see the roadmap and the vision. Partner than myself, than a user of the technology. But for the vendors that I would use frequently as a practitioner, always attended the conferences. I mean, you really have to get into a partnership with your vendors. I was reading a blog by Gerard Green, who was talking about comparing vendors' approach and building your partnership with your vendors as compared to the NBA teams, where you have to kind of have that lead scorer, the one who can really drive the team. And you have to have a great coach who can set the strategy and think about how you're going to design the team's approach. And when it comes to IT leadership, we have to be that same way. And he made a good point. We sometimes in IT, we put all this effort in going in and finding the right vendor to select, or we ultimately do a lot of research and make a selection around a vendor. But then do we really engage them? Do we really work with them to understand our vision and where we're going? And I think as vendors move forward, I know I've appreciated this more for me the past year, working for a product company, which I hadn't done before, how much they want feedback and how much they need that feedback to lead their market direction. We do look for our vendors to kind of know where to go, where to take us. So I think it's a balancing act, right? We have to let them lead us, and then at the same time we have to reciprocate with feedback and help guide them. Of a vendor war that's going on right now, I see vendors advertising a lot more, particularly in the IT service management space, and I wonder if this is because of the ServiceNow phenomena, which has happened where their product, which is only an IT service management tool, we can call it whatever we want, SecOps, ITOM, ITAM. It's all request management. It's all task tracking, really. So, and I'm not bashing them. Landesk product's no different. Cherwell's product's no different. Of course, they do it in different ways, and they allow different capability and flexibility, which is great. But I've seen so much more advertising happening. I wonder, as an audience, we'd love to hear that if you are seeing that as well too. The level of ads that are coming up on my YouTube when I'm just trying to learn a new guitar lick or find a new workout. I get the Freshservice ads, and I get the different ads coming across. I guess Freshservice is probably one of the ones paying the most for pay-per-clicks. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's certainly interesting to me how much money's being spent in advertisement. And it makes me a little concerned. I get a little concerned for all these vendors who are chasing the IT service market. Chris Matchett, has talked many times in and about his Gartner reports and his Gartner analysis that there's 400 plus vendors in this space. tracking tasks and doing task management software is nothing new. We've had it forever. It's a difficult thing. We want digital solutions for our workload, what we're supposed to do, what our priorities are. But chasing the IT service management market, I don't know. I wonder how far we truly are from artificial intelligence and analytics issues real time, predicting our impacts and rerouting us to workable solutions, to helping us understand our priorities and doing some of the work for us. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much longer this market of approving changes and building workflow without code and building self-service portals is going to be all that much of a demand. I just, when I see artificial intelligence solutions, when I see and read and about what it's able to do to help a nurse or a doctor troubleshoot complex healthcare issues based off all types of stats and analysis and data, could it not really help somebody figure out how to cut and paste into PowerPoint? Could it not figure out how to map assets to a business service? I don't know. I don't think that anything we particularly do in IT service management is all that difficult when it's broken down to an isolated set of tasks or functions or rules. Sure, in its entirety, it's complex. Trying to communicate between a project and a change and a release, current service health, asset stability that supports that service, and the risk impacts of a change to those assets. Not easy in aggregate, but in isolation it's pretty easy, right? So I mean, I don't know. I think we have computers that can compose music, which when you look at all the orchestration of all those phrasings and instruments and components together, and it can build unique music. I just don't know that it's all that hard. I don't know that codeless is all that big of a draw anymore. Because even if it isn't code that you are configuring, you're still having to do the business logic. And shouldn't systems kind of figure that business logic out for us as well too? There was a recent press release from PMG that Barron put in the show notes. I'll make sure it gets there. I guess he's a CEO. I know Joe. I used to be a PMG partner back in the day. It's a great solution. Of course, their workflow was a third-party solution was one of the powerful tools in the workflow space, business process management spaces. So, really great capabilities layered into their technology, and they've been really focused on this request platform automation capability for a long time, and I think they've done a great job. But of course, they were filling a gap around CA and HP and some of the monolithic tools that just had terrible self-service and no ability to find simple ways to order and manage the order management process. PMG was really a pioneer in this kind of shopping cart. Again, and then you saw self-service from other solutions. Cisco bought the other big guys. I can't remember what their name is right now. But you see them play it, but at least is a bit of the CEO kind of saying, I guess in jest, it's nice to have ServiceNow in the market of codeless, low entry request management. And I don't know that ServiceNow is necessarily there. I think ServiceNow is trying to find entry points across a larger scale business. ServiceNow, I think, has kind of a dual approach to satisfying their market cap demand. And as an ITSM tool, they're overvalued in just being an ITSM player, so they have to satisfy other dimensions. I think enterprise service management was one of those dimensions, and I think SMB was the other. And I think it's a hedged bet, really take off, and which one they will be able to satisfy. So I don't know that they were necessarily going for the codeless play. It's just in the SMB, no one really wants to spend a lot of time writing code, even if JavaScript isn't all that hard, and most of the script needed is readily available. They obviously saw the gap in their usability and configuration. I know that that's still where we want to go from a digital transformation perspective. I wonder if we're not all vendors in the ITSM space are going to be upset by solutions that are much more integrated and much more automated. If it's not if this then that type technology, or Zapier, who was a ITSM Weekly podcast many years ago. Those types of technologies where systems of record, request fulfillment in an automated fashion, and data can be populated, because really it's the physical entry of data and the physical analysis of data that is the barrier, right? It's really seldom the ability to launch a web tool or a mobile app barrier. It's the entry of data that you have to put into it, but the analysis of the view that you have to take against it. But automatically, they could make decisions for us. They could understand what our backlog is. They can look for conflicts in a release, for instance. They can log changes and allocate back feedback loops of satisfaction and usability and error log analysis, detection. The correlation of that information can help determine whether, this is a good team, this release should roll forward, or this team is not doing a good enough job in validation testing. I think it's going to change significantly for us. I'm looking forward to my presentation in London at SITS, where I'm going to speak very specifically about the role of an ITSM professional in 2020. I think the next 4 years, we're going to see a major shift and what ITSM role and responsibility, the over-engineering of processes, particularly that around change management, are going to fundamentally disrupt the ITSM market. We in IT get freaked out about shadow IT and the business acquiring their own cloud services and bringing their own devices. It's been a scary thing for us for the past few years. It's just business trying to accomplish something, which is the elimination of a physical constraint by a digital capability. And yet when they came to IT, they had this, over-engineered process, this over-rigor around control, the over-expression on requirements, where the business line manager didn't know. So listen, we need to get something out there. The customers are saying they want an easier way to book their airline, or they want an easier way to look up their insurance policy, or they want an easier way to track their package. We just need to make it easier. We don't know exactly what that will look like yet, but let's get something out there. Let's get feedback from our customers, and let's figure it out. But let's just move. Let's learn. Let's get out there. And that kind of .com, validation, first to market mover, learn and grow, fail, test, learn, fix, reality is really starting to get into the enterprise space. And I think this is where DevOps kind of kicks in as well too. And when you look at DevOps, they don't want to spend a lot of time on forms-based workflow. They don't want to spend a lot of time on codeless workflow configuration solutions. They're actually okay building custom scripts. They're actually okay creating and customizing the scripts to interact with APIs to accomplish the objective that's needed, and then tweak that as they go. Comfortable with code. Developers are very comfortable with APIs. They're very comfortable with automation. Ops people, not so much. And one of the reasons that a lot of these tools have focused on codeless configuration is because to bring it to a process person who probably doesn't have that technical background, they don't want the code, right? They want the drag and drop. But the reality is if you step back and think about it, the person who's paying for it or the person who's responsible or accountable for it just wants the outcome. They don't care if you drag and dropped it to get it. They don't care if you wrote a script or an API to get it. They want it accomplished. And so automation and scripting and asset automation and configuration automation and deployment automation are gaining great traction because they're building a platform of automation. They're building a platform and a framework for automation and not a framework for processes. And I think that's a fundamental shift that we're starting to see. So how all these ITSM vendors, including myself, will respond to this changing demand, this changing market landscape, what it will mean for us. So we'll have to wait and see if there is this transition, if DevOps does continue to have the stats that they're promoting, the reduction of incidents, the more frequent change in functionality, the more go-to-market capability, what kind of pressure that's going to really put on these products that simply handle request management, simply handle tasking, and what kind of pressure they'll have to build into the back end to provide more AI capabilities, more natural language processing, more robust automation solutions. Because a great looking intake is not going to cut it anymore. I don't think that's a differentiator in the market. We'll have to see. Anyways, thank you for joining episode 93, Hacking Business Technology. I hope you have a great weekend. It's May. If you are at ServiceNow's Knowledge Conference, I hope it was a great show for you. If you're making it out to Interchange next week in Vegas, hope to see you there. If you're out at SITS in London, definitely let me know. We'd love to connect with you. As always, we welcome your feedback. That's how you hack business technology. Bye, everybody.